Hello and welcome to Raus IAS. This is the Daily News Simplified for the date 29 August 2024. And for our today's discussion, we have picked up these following articles. Two articles are related to our mains discussion, whereas three articles are related to our prelims discussion. So the two articles today for mains discussions are National Industrial Corridor Development Program. It is one of the important infrastructural development program in India. The second article is related to minimum age of marriage for girls. Now, the articles for our prelims discussion are Agricultural Infrastructure Fund, Microplastics, and Rajaji Tiger Reserve. Now, let's proceed with our first article for the day, which appeared on the page number 3 of the Hindu Business Line, and this article also appeared on Indian Express as well as the Hindu. Now, recently what happened that the union government has approved 12 industrial smart cities, which will be constituted along 6 major industrial corridors in India. And these 12 industrial smart cities, they will span across 10 states in India. Now, these 12 industrial smart cities are under the broader infrastructural development program of India, which is National Industrial Corridor Development Program. That is, we are developing industrial corridors throughout India, across the length and breadth of India, and under the part of this initiatives, now 12 industrial smart cities have been sanctioned. Okay, the project for development of these cities have been sanctioned. Now, this article is important for our GS Paper 3 Economy under the syllabus head Infrastructure, Energy, Ports, Roads, Airports, Railways, among others. And if we see from this wider theme, UPSC had asked questions in the year 2021 and 2017. Also, a question regarding industrial corridors. It was also asked in GS Paper 1 Geography because industrial corridors, they are significant for the development of industries. And it is under the syllabus head factors responsible for location of primary, secondary, and tertiary sector industries in various parts of the world. So in 2018, we found a question in GS Paper 1 Geography which said that what is the significance of industrial corridors in India? Identify industrial corridor, explain their main characteristics. So in our today's article, we are discussing about this recent development, about this scheme which is National Industrial Corridor Development Program, and also that what is the significance of developing industrial corridors in India. So let's begin with our discussion. Now, firstly, National Industrial Corridor Development Program. It is a flagship initiative of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, which was launched in December 2016 by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and this is a flagship initiative of government to develop infrastructural project in India. Right now, let's understand the context. Presently, in the present financial year, India is $3.9 trillion economy. Okay, and it is estimated that by the in the next financial year, or by the end of this financial year itself, India will be a $4 trillion economy. Presently, India is the fifth largest economy in the world. And there is an ambitious goal of Indian government when India aims to be a $5 trillion economy. This is estimated by the year 2027 and 2028. These are the estimates that by this year, by this time period, India will be a $5 trillion economy, or the third largest economy in the world after US and China. Okay. Now, what are the major constituents of economic development? These are the important sectors in India. So there are three important sectors which hugely contribute to Indian economy. They are agriculture sector, manufacturing sector, and services sector. Though all of these sectors are important, but presently we need to focus more on manufacturing sector. This particular scheme, though it will benefit all these sectors of Indian economy, but we are particularly giving focus to the manufacturing sector. And how is this manufacturing going to happen? This manufacturing is going to happen through the development of industrial corridors, through the development of through the development of infrastructure, multimodal infrastructure. That is, the aim is to establish a network of industrial corridors throughout the length and breadth of India, which will create new industrial cities and regions. Around these corridors, the aim is to develop new industrial cities and regions, or we can say that industrial nodes. Industrial nodes will be created across in the region surroundings these industrial corridors, because these industrial corridors will pass through the significant regions which are mapped out already, and they will become together by the creation of these corridors as well as these industrial smart cities. They will be a catalyst for economic growth, right? And if we see that presently under this scheme, there are 11 industrial corridors which are sanctioned presently. These industrial corridors are Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor. We can see here, this is one of the first and the most important industrial corridor, which has the estimated length of 1493 kilometers, and it passes through Delhi. It connects Delhi to Mumbai, and it passes through several states like Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Maharashtra. Along the length and stretch of this particular corridor, we can see in this image also, various cities, various industrial development, or various industrial smart cities or industrial clusters would be developed. Now, if we see Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor, these are some projects which are at the different level of development or implementation. For example, uh, Udyogpuri Township would be created in Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh. Integrated Industrial Township to be created in Noida. Similarly, other logistic hubs and transport hubs will be created in Noida. And Dholera Smart City. Dholera is the first industrial smart city which was conceived under this project. So Dholera Special Investment Region in Gujarat, and other regions like Shendra Bitkin Industrial Area in Maharashtra, integrated multimodal logistic hub at Haryana. So along the stretch of these corridors, these cities are envisaged. Now, what are the characteristics of these industrial corridors? These corridors will host world-class infrastructure and provide multimodal connectivity, that is, connectivity through all means of transport. High-speed transportation network, whether road network or rail network, modern airports, modern ports with state-of-art cargo handling equipment, and special economic reasons, logistic parks to improve the supply chain, right? Knowledge park which will act as incubation hubs for research and development and skilling the manpower, right? And in the vicinity of these smart cities or these smart industrial cities, there would be complementary infrastructure would be developed, such as industrial townships or real estate, right? So one important aspect of this particular program is developing world-class infrastructure, right? And what is the second important component? The second important component is such infrastructure. This aims to develop manufacturing or industries, right? So here the infrastructure is created in plug and play model. So what is plug and play model? This means that the industrial patches along this corridor or these township areas, such industrial plots, they are identified, okay, and these plots are ready to move in. That is, all the basic amenities, all the basic infrastructure for any particular industry. For example, the first basic criteria for any industry is land. So land clearances are already taken, right? The industry has to just move in here because all the clearances have been taken care of. Apart from this, all the other ancillary amenities. For example, there is water connection, 24/7 water connection, 24/7 electricity or power connection, right? There is a system for waste collection and disposal. For this is particularly important for those companies which deal with chemical or hazardous chemicals, right? And it also have state of art ICT infrastructure, that is digital infrastructure which will provide 4G and or 5G connectivity. So we have a world class, a high class physical infrastructure as well as digital infrastructure. Now in this plug and play model, the investors who want to create a manufacturing unit, they have to just move in here because basic infrastructure is already ready, and then they have to customize uh, their own building design or infrastructure requirement, right? Now, this is in order to promote ease of doing business, in order to speed in the development of industries in India. Okay, so these are key characteristics. And the implementation or the management of such project will be overseen by National Industrial Corridor Development and Implementation Trust. So this trust has a responsibility to oversee the implementation or management of all these 11 industrial corridors, and for each particular corridor there would be a special purpose vehicle which will be created, and this special purpose vehicle, it will see it will cater to all the compliances, like there's a special purpose vehicle, this will look after land clearances and all other environmental clearances, and this will be responsible for managing a particular industrial corridor or any particular industrial cluster. Okay. Now, other facts, let's move on to see other facts. So, as we saw that initially, under this particular program, 11 industrial corridor projects have been devised as of now, and these projects are, first of all, it is Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor. Other projects include Amritsar Kolkata Industrial Corridor. So these corridors are highlighted by these colors on left hand side. Other corridors are Chennai Bangalore Industrial Corridor, Vizag Chennai Industrial Corridor, East Coast Economic Corridor, Hyderabad Nagpur Industrial Corridor, Hyderabad Warangal Industrial Corridor, Hyderabad Bangalore Industrial Corridor, Mumbai Bangalore Industrial Corridor, and extension of Chennai Bangalore Industrial Corridor to Kochi via Coimbatore. So all these locations, and the final corridor is Delhi Nagpur Industrial Corridor. So the location of these corridors are given here. So you can have a you can quickly see the location of these all corridors and remember some important corridors. Okay. Now, as we've seen some points regarding this program. Now let's see that what is the significance of this particular scheme. Now, firstly, as we already saw that India aims to be a $5 trillion economy by the year 2028, right? So we need to scale up our manufacturing sector. We need to make our manufacturing world class, right? We have to make our manufacturing sector globally competitive. And now for it, we need such infrastructure. We need rapid development of manufacturing sector, right? So what is the significance of this particular scheme? The first significance is that this will provide a vibrant industrial ecosystem, right? As by the development of these industrial corridors, they will, by its multimodal connectivity, they will provide a last mile connectivity in India. That is, they can connect the rural regions. These corridors may connect every stretch of India, say it is rural areas or townships or cities. So they can provide last mile connectivity, and by it they will strengthen the supply chain, and this will lower the logistic cost. Now, as per recent data, the logistic cost in Indian manufacturing sector is around 12 to 14% of India's GDP. Whereas if we consider the logistic cost of other developing countries, we see, say China, it is around 8% of its GDP. So because of this high logistic cost, we are losing significant chunk. Also, this high logistic cost, it also makes the end products costly. So this price is shifted to end consumers, right? Now, if the supply chain is strengthened, then the logistic cost would come down, right? And by the development of these industrial nodes, India also targets towards export-led development. Now, when our products are cost competitive, when they are competitive in aspect of cost as well as quality, then this will significantly improve our export potential. And it is envisioned that via this particular program, by the creation of infrastructure, this will lead to $2 trillion export by the year 2030, right? This is the first significance. The second significance is that, see, earlier we talked about manufacturing sector, that how this scheme is going to help usher in manufacturing development in manufacturing sector, right? But apart from this, we know that agricultural sector is an important sector for us as it employs around 50% of Indian population. And we all know that the linkages between agriculture sector and industrial sector in India are very weak. Now, this is because there is a little value chain there is a little value chain addition in the agricultural sector. The goods from the farms of farmers, they are there is a little value addition, and because of lack of development of cold storage infrastructure or other post harvest infrastructure, there are post harvest losses. If we provide industrial linkages, or if we provide seamless connectivity between agricultural farmlands, rural heartlands to these industrial zones, then what would happen? This will integrate rural economy, and this will streamline agricultural supply chain. This will enable the development of food-based processing, food processing industries, right? And this will lead to value addition in the farm products, and so this will streamline agricultural supply. This will ensure the development of more food processing industries, and this will also ensure the success of ENAM, right? And also export potential for our farmers, and this will increase their income also. Okay, so this will promote the linkages between agricultural and industrial sector. The third thing is that this particular via the creation of these industrial clusters or these industrial nodes, industrial smart cities, they will promote the growth of MSMEs. Now, see, earlier also we have special economic zones under the Special Economic Zone Act 2006. See, the focus of creating special economic zone was more towards export-led growth, or the products manufactured here, they had more export potential, right? But we see that the products which are developed by MSMEs, they are generally for domestic consumption, right? Now, these SEG model, it benefited higher manufacturing industries, or the industries which had more capital. But this SEG scheme, this was less beneficial, or it could not benefit MSMEs, because MSMEs, they had smaller capital, right? And they produced locally, right? So MSMEs, they need ease of doing business. They need seamless infrastructure or supply chains which can connect these MSMEs to their potential customers, right? Now, with this plug and play model in this particular program, these MSMEs, it will reduce the hassles, the compliance burden, other necessary bureaucratic hurdles which these MSMEs has to face. So this particular program is going to reduce the hassles faced by MSMEs, and it will also lower the cost of compliance by these MSMEs, right? So this is important. This could be an important contributor to promote the growth of MSMEs, right? And fourth, we know that this program will obviously will generate employment. Now, this employment could be generated directly via the creation of infrastructure, in the creation of these industrial corridors, in the construction work, or in the creation of these smart industrial towns. And when these manufacturing units, they are set up, they will also provide employment, right? So employment would be generated directly as well as indirectly via this particular program. And it is estimated that this will create employment. This particular project will give employment to more than 4 million population of India. And then this program has other social benefits also. That is, first benefit would be creation of social infrastructure. Now, we all know that when any particular area is developed, if there is an industrial zone in any particular area, in the vicinity of that industrial zone, we know that there is a creation of social infrastructure there. This will lead to the creation of more hospitals, health facilities, educational facilities, and other social infrastructure there, right? So this is going to benefit the populations in the vicinity. Second thing is that this will boost the female labor participation rate. Now we all know that female labor participation rate is also less because there is less rural connectivity. And this particular program is going to boost rural connectivity and it is going to boost female labor participation rate. Finally, this will reduce the pressure on tier 1 cities. We know that tier 1 cities it face enormous pressure due to urban migration and which puts pressure on its scarce resources, right? And when we create these satellite towns in new satellite towns or new industrial towns, then in tier 2 cities or by the creation of these new satellite towns, this will reduce the burden of metro cities or tier 1 cities, right? And the final aspect is that the infrastructure which is being created here, it is it would be created via sustainable planning. So sustainable planning is a key aspect of this infrastructure project. In sustainable planning, there would be use of sustainable building materials as well as it would cater to develop more green spaces. And this will usher in the goal of sustainable development also. Okay. And but having said this, you know, infrastructure infrastructure projects in India, they face certain vulnerabilities. What are these challenges? Initially, see, in creation of such infrastructural corridors or other projects, it need clearances of various department and ministries. The first thing is various departments and ministries in India, they work in silos. So the thing is, the department and ministries responsible for creation of this infrastructure, they may work in silos or disintegrated approach. The second thing is that due to all these factors, because these projects need multiple clearances, multiple regulatory compliances, and because of it, there is there is cost overrun of the project because these projects are delayed mostly, right? So to tackle these two prominent issues, in the year 2021, the government of India launched PM Gati Shakti scheme. So PM Gati Shakti scheme is a scheme which is aimed to give momentum, gati or momentum to the creation of infrastructure in India. So this is a portal which promises interministerial cooperation or interdepartmental cooperation in making in commissioning or conceiving any project. So before any project is being conceived, there would be an interministerial cooperation through PM Gati Shakti portal, and presently it has it will coordinate 60 government ministries and more than 20 government departments, and via an integrated approach all the compliances would be taken care of. And secondly, uh, this will provide technological support also. For example, there is a provision that the satellite imagery will use to map the land parcels to be developed, right? So in one sense, it would be easier to get land clearances also. So we can say that this particular program by this National Industrial Corridor Development Program, this would be instrumental in the development of manufacturing sector in India or in ushering in infrastructure led growth in India, right? Now let's move on to the second article for the day, and our second main discussion article is inspired by this news article which appeared on the explained section of Indian Express. Now, this news article says that the State Assembly of Himachal Pradesh has recently passed a bill to raise the minimum age of marriage for women from 18 to 20, from 18 early to 21 now. Now, we all know that the minimum age for marriage of women for women in India is 18 years, right? And this bill has been passed by State Assembly of Himachal Pradesh, which aims to raise the age of marriage of women from 18 years to 21 years now. Now, is it possible? Can the states do it? Yes, the states can do it, as marriage is mentioned as a subject is mentioned in concurrent list. And we all know that for the subject which are mentioned in concurrent list, the legislations can be framed by both state government also as well as central government also. But the legislations which are framed by state government, they should be in consonation. They should be in congruence with the laws of central government. Okay, but we have seen that the central government, the prevention as per the prevention of child marriage act, as per the Prevention of Child Marriage Act 2006 in India, it says that the minimum age for marriage in women is 18 years presently, right? So, what does Himachal Pradesh need to do now? This bill has already been passed in the Legislative Assembly of Himachal Pradesh. Now, for this bill to become an act, it has to be approved by the governor of Himachal Pradesh, right? Now, in such cases, when the matter of this particular state bill is not in consonance with that of central government, then there is a route that governor would reserve this particular bill for the assent of president. Now, in this case, what the governor of Himachal Pradesh will reserve this particular bill for the assent of Indian President. So, Indian President under the Article 201 of Indian Constitution can either give assent to this particular bill, or it can withhold the assent to this particular bill. Okay. Now, what will happen to this particular bill? Now, it is with the President of India. It is under the President of India, right? To give assent to the bill or to withhold the assent to the bill. Now, in this particular news article, this is important for our GS paper 2 governance also, because this is directly important under the syllabus head government policies and interventions for development of various sectors and issues arising out of their design and implementation. And this news article is also important for our GS paper 2 social justice. Under the syllabus is issues related to the development and management of human resources, and this issue is also important for our GS paper 1 society, okay, under the structure of Indian society. Now, in this particular news article, we are going to see about this very debate in India, that is to raise the age of women for marriage, right? So let's see that what is the evolution of law, or how is in the past regarding to increase the age of marriage for women in India. Now, firstly, let's see the Indian Penal Code of 1860. It criminalized the sexual intercourse with girls under the age of 10 years. So this was first such code in India which was enacted by the Indian Penal Code of 1860. And then in the year 1929, there was an act which is Child Marriage Restraint Act of 1929, which is popularly known as Sharda Act. The Sharda Act, it set the minimum age for marriage for women in India at 16 and 18 for boys in India. Now, in the year 1978, this particular act was amended and the age for marriage in India was raised. Now, 18 was the age for marriage for women and 21 was the age for men. Now, apart from this, there are various personal acts also, like Hindu Marriage Act of 1955, Indian Christian Marriage Act also of 1872, and Special Marriage Act of 1957, which prescribe a minimum age for marriage as 18 years for bride and 21 years for groom. And now this is an important provision in India, which is provision of Child Marriage Act 2006. Now this particular act, thus enacted by the central government, it prohibits marriage below the age of 18 years for women and 21 years for men. So From here, we have seen that presently the marriage for women below the age of 18 years is prohibited, and that is same, and it is prohibited for men below the age of 21 years, right? And but various debates around this topic have been raised in India, and to increase the age of marriage for women in India. Now, in order to look into this debate, in the year 2020, a committee or a task force was created. This committee is Jaya Jetli Task Force or Jaya Jetli Committee. It was established by the Ministry of Women and Child Development, and the particular its aim was to look into the correlation between the age of marriage with the issues of women's nutrition. So this means to look into the feasibility, the major objectives were to look into the feasibility of increasing the age of marriage. That can the age of marriage in India, could it be increased? And what are the implications of increasing the age of marriage on women and child health, right? So the panel, it submitted its report in December 2022. Apart from other recommendations, the major recommendation of this commission, of this task force was, it recommended raising the age of marriage of women to 21 years in a phased manner. And so in response to this report, in the year 2021, Union Cabinet, it approved a proposal to raise the legal age of marriage from 18 to 21 years, right? And subsequently, a bill was floated in Lok Sabha in the year 2021. The bill was Provision of Child Marriage Amendment Act 2021. So it was floated in Lok Sabha, but still this bill is under parliamentary discussion. Okay, it is being discussed by parliamentary panel. Now let's see this debate. Let's see some arguments which support to raise the minimum age of marriage for women. What are these arguments? The first argument is that right to equality. Now we all know that under Article 14 to Article 18 of Indian Constitution, they refer to fundamental rights. And Article 15 of Indian Constitution says that there should be no discrimination in India based on religion, based on race, based on caste, based on gender, and place of birth. So gender equality can be inferred from the Constitution of India. Gender equality is a kind of fundamental right which is given by the Constitution of India, right? And now when there are differences in the age of marriage for boys and girls, so it is not adhering to this right to equality. Secondly, we have seen that the voting age in India is 18, and this voting age 18 is same for boys as well as girls. So there is a argument that if voting age could be same for boys as well as girls, so the age of marriage should also be same for boys as well as girls, right? So this age should be raised to 21 for both of them. Now, the second argument is that by increasing the age of marriage, this will improve the health outcomes. Now, various reports have found the correlation between early marriages, early pregnancy, and the malnutrition in children. That is, the women or the girls who are married early, and when they have pregnancy, the children born out of such pregnancy, they are generally undernourished. And we all know that there is a large population of children in India who are malnourished. And especially India is one of the leading countries in the world. India has the largest number of stunted children in the world, right? So if we increase the minimum age for marriage, this will break this intergenerational cycle of malnutrition. This intergenerational means the cycle of malnutrition could be broken for mother as well as children, right? The second outcome would be this will reduce maternal mortality rate as well as infant mortality rate. And this will lead to increasing the minimum age of marriage would lead to women empowerment. As this will increase the avenues or chances. This will increase the chances for women to get enrolled in higher education institutions, right? And by being educationally empowered, they could be financially empowered also. So this could be an important step for providing educational and employment opportunities to women. And via it, this will increase the female labor force participation rate, right? And this will also reduce hypergamy in society. So hypergamy is a concept that male should be more educated than women. Male should be uh, male should be more in age to women. Male should be highly educated, highly earning, and more in age as compared to women, right? So this is the concept of hypergamy, and this women empowerment, this will reduce the practices of hypergamy, as both of them would have more authority over their decisions, right? And then this will also lead to population control, as when the marriages they happen at later age for women, this decreases the overall number of pregnancies. And apart from it, this argument is also backed by various reports. For example, there was a Law Commission report of 2008 which recommended a uniform age of marriage at 18 years for both women as well as men. And the National Human Rights Commission 2018, it supports equal marriage age for both genders, right? So apart from it, there are several arguments which are against raising this minimum age for marriage. These arguments are that first argument says that, see, these legal limits, they are not successful. Already we have Prevention of Child Marriages Act 2006. Despite it, there was a report that there was a report which was released by UNICEF in the year 2021, and it said that India hosts the largest number of child brides in the world. That is one out of three child marriages happening in the world. Out of three marriages which are happening in the world, out of three child marriages which are happening in the world, one such marriage it happens in India. And it said that as per the data of UNICEF, around 1.5 million child marriages they happen in India annually. So this is a huge number. And there was a data by National Family Health Survey 5, and this there was a survey. It said that in the women aged 20 to 24 years, 20 around 23% of these women they married before the age of 18. That is even if we have presence of this Prevention of Child Marriages Act, still these legal limits are not successful. So why these are not successful? Because marriage in India is a complex institution. That is, child marriages are not just happening uh, because child marriages are happening in India because of various reasons. These reasons could be, one of the most important reason is the presence of poverty in India. That the data by National Family Health Survey shows that majority of the child marriages which happen in India, almost 75%, they happen among the poorest category of population. Because when there is an enormous widespread poverty in India, then there are lesser avenues or lesser chances for women to participate in higher education institutions, right? And so they don't have more earning avenues. So the parents, they think that marriage is the only solution to, in one sense, send off their women's to a higher social strata, or to improve their her standard of living, right? And so this particular argument is that if we increase the age of marriage to 21, this is not going to solve the underlying issues. The underlying issue is the presence of poverty, the presence of poor health outcomes. if we talk about these health outcomes, poor health outcomes. So these are the underlying issues like poverty and poor health infrastructure, right? And the other argument is that this would be a restriction on choice of marriage. There may be some women who may want to get married at the age of 18, and this would be a restriction on their choice of marriage, right? So there are certain arguments which are against raising the minimum age of marriage. So what should be the way forward? The way forward should be that we need to address the underlying causes in India. This is, we need to improve the access to education for particularly for women in India. That is, we need to find out the reasons for declining gross enrollment ratio of women in higher educational institutions. We need to improve the attendance of girls in schools. This could be done by providing them scholarships, and we need to provide them skill training also. And also, we need to improve the health outcomes, right? We need to invest more in health infrastructure, and this could be done by counseling women on early pregnancies. There should be social awareness campaigns focusing on women's reproductive health sexual and reproductive health and rights. There should be easy access to quality contraception. We should invest more in improving maternal health services and safe abortion services, investing more in child and women nutrition, right? And finally, we also need to ensure a safe environment where women are free from the constant threat of sexual assault. And it is also one of the reasons why girls are married off early by their families, right? So this is all about this article. With this, let's move on to our prelims topics for the day. The first article for today's discussion appeared on the page number 14 of The Hindu. Now, this news article says that the Union government has expanded the scope of Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. So, in this news article, we will be talking about Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, and we will be also seeing that what are the new components which have been added in the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. To understand this, first let us understand what is Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. So, Agriculture Infrastructure Fund is a initiative by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. It is a central sector scheme which was launched in the year 2020, and this was to provide debt financing or provide loans to farmers. These loans could be provided to individual farmers. These loans could be provided to this could be provided to agriculture societies, right? Primary agriculture credit societies, to the farm producer organizations, self-help groups, agriculture entrepreneurs, and startups. So basically, this scheme aimed to provide debt financing or loan to individual farmers and group of farmers, institutions, agricultural entrepreneurs, startups, in order to create post-harvest infrastructure in India. We all know that agriculture sector faces enormous post-harvest loss in the absence of post-harvest infrastructure. So it aimed to provide medium to long-term debt financing facility for investment in post-harvest management infrastructure, as well as community farming assets. Now, see, these are the examples of post-harvest management project. These could be by investing on supply chain services, warehouses, creating warehouses, cold storage facilities, packaging units, assaying and grading units, ripening chambers or refrigerators. So these are some of the projects for development of which loan can be given under this via this Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. So the loan amount, so the corpus in this fund is 1 lakh crore rupees. So this is the corpus of this fund. And what are the key aspects here? That in the funds or the loans which are given from this fund, 3% interest subvention is given. That is 3%, that is when the loan is given to the farmers by the financing institutions, 3% of that interest would be paid by the central government, right? Now, this is in order to make the loans more affordable for them. And then it has the provisions to grant loans up to rupees 2 crore to each, say, individual farmer or these societies, and this loan could be given to a period of up to 7 years. Now, these are the key important provisions of Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. Now, recently, there has been an expansion. In this, central government has added some new verticals here. These are three new additions. What is the first addition? First addition is the inclusion of integrated secondary processing units projects in the list of eligible projects under Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. This means that now the farmers could also be given loan if they develop an integrated secondary processing project in their farmland. For example, there is a farmer and he produces, say, oranges, and he want to set up an orange juice unit. Okay, so this primary facilities which was provided to him, these are like sorting, grading, and packaging of oranges. But these secondary processing projects means production of value-added products like orange juice. Right now, for the creation of such infrastructure like orange juice plant, he can take loan from Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. Okay, this is the first thing. The second thing is that it will allow the convergence of component A of PM Kusum with Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. Now we know that PM Kusum scheme is a scheme by government under which the farmers they are given incentives for installing solar pumps along their fields. Now, if the farmers they need loans in order to install solar pumps. Now, for this scheme also, this scheme has been integrated with Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. Now, the farmers can take loan for this purpose from this particular fund. Okay. Now, in addition to this, the farmer producer organizations, they can also they can avail credit or they can avail loan through NUP Sanskaran Trustee Company. So this is a private company which has also been added now under the list of various other institutions. See, these are various participating institutions which can give loan to the farmers. These are commercial bank, cooperative banks, regional rural banks, small financial banks, non-banking financial corporations, and national cooperative development corporations. So these are the participating institutions which can act as which can act as which can finance or which can give loans to our farmers, right? So this is all about this scheme. Now let's solve a practice question based on it. Now we all know that UPSC in the economy section, it asks questions regarding the developments in agriculture sector. And so in the year 2017, we found this particular question which was regarding National Agriculture Market Scheme. Now let's solve this question which says that consider the following statements about Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. Statement 1. It aims to provide short, medium, and long-term loans for the development of agriculture infrastructure. This is an incorrect statement because this particular fund aims to provide medium and short-term loans for the development of agriculture infrastructure, but it does not provide short-term loans. The loans are provided to the maximum duration of 7 years. And then second statement says the loans from the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund are provided only to individual farmers. So this is incorrect statement, as they can be also provided to primary agriculture credit societies, farm producer organizations, agricultural entrepreneurs, among others, not just to individual farmers, right? So how many of the given statements are correct? The correct answer is option D, neither one nor two, as both the statements are incorrect. Now let's move on to our second MCQ for the day. Now it is inspired by this news article which appeared on the page on the Science and Technology page number of the Hindu. Now this news article says that there was a research study which was undertaken in 2022 and now the research has been published. Now this research study says that high amount of microplastics have been found in Indian personal care products. Now personal care products could be products such as face washes or body washes, such as toothpaste, body lotion. So these are personal care products and there is a high amount of microplastics, particularly microbeads, which has been found in the personal care products in India. Now let's see that some facts regarding microplastics. So what are microplastics? Microplastics are tiny plastic particles which are less than 5 millimeter in size, and because of its small size, less than 5 millimeter, in size, they can cause significant environmental concerns. Now, how are they produced? They can be produced when the large plastic materials they degrade under the action of ultraviolet rays by the suns or by wave action also. These when the larger plastics they degrade, then they form tiny plastic particles known as microplastics. And also when the other clothing materials, for example, there are clothing materials which may have plastics like nylon and polyester. When these textiles they degrade, then also these fibers, these small residue fibers, they can contribute to microplastics, and they are also present. They are also present in personal hygiene products, like we already discussed, toothpaste, shower gel, face wash, and they have microbeads. Microbeads are tiny microplastics whose diameter is less than 5 millimeter. Okay, and then there is a high presence of microbeads or microplastics in personal hygiene products. So the most common microbeads here in these care products are polyethylene, polypropylene, nylon, and polyester. These are the major constituents of microbeads. And despite various developed nations, for example, US, Canada, UK, France, they have imposed ban on using microbeads in personal hygiene products. These microbeads they are added in these personal hygiene products for exploitation, okay? And then, but India lacks clear regulations on adding microbeads in personal care products. So because there is a lack of regulations regarding their addition in personal care products, so we can see enormous presence of microbeads. But there are significant risks due to the presence of microbeads in these in the products. Now the first issue is that these microbeads they can pollute terrestrial ecosystems. That is, these microbeads they can be assimilated in soil as well as they can be percolated in water. Right. The first concern is that they can cause significant water pollution as well as soil pollution, and they can harm terrestrial life also, flora and fauna, and then they can also harm marine ecosystem. These microplastics, these plastics, when they are shredded in water or water bodies, then they can be ingested by fishes or other higher order predators there, and this can lead to bioaccumulation in the food chain. So this can be consumed by fishes and other higher predators, and ultimately humans can consume them in via food chain accumulation, bioaccumulation, and they are also a concern to human health. Reports have found that these microplastics they are present, their presence have been found in vital human organs, say brain, lungs. They are also even their presence has been found in placenta of pregnant women. That is, they are not just harming, they are also harming the unborn life, right? So they can cause significant human health concerns. Now, based on this information, let us solve this practice question on microplastics. Now, UPSC in the year 2019, it asked a question on microbeads. So such themes are important for our environment paper, right? Now, let's solve this practical question which says that microplastics are significantly found in personal care products. So this is the correct statement. Second statement says that the products labeled as organic do not contain any amount of microplastics. So this is incorrect statement. So this news article mentioned that the study was conducted in various personal care products which were labeled as organic. But despite it, there was a presence of microplastics in these products, right? So these terms organic, they may be misleading to the consumers, and they may be examples of greenwashing. Okay. So such microplastics, they are found, they can be also found in organic, the products which are labeled as organic, right? So this is incorrect statement. Third statement says that microplastics can even be found in placenta of a pregnant women. So this is a correct statement. Okay. Now, how many statements are correct? Only two statements are correct. Now, let's move on to our final news article for the day. Now, this is regarding the development in Rajaji Tiger Reserve when the post of uh, a new post for chief secretary has been a new chief secretary has been appointed in the Rajaji Reserve. So, in this news article, let's see the location of Rajaji Tiger Reserve. Rajaji Tiger Reserve is located in the state of Uttarakhand, and this Tiger Reserve it spans over three districts in the state: Dehradun, Haridwar, and Pauri Garhwal. Rajaji Tiger Reserve, which was earlier Rajaji National Park, it was created after merging three wildlife sanctuaries of Uttarakhand. They are Rajaji Wildlife Sanctuary, Motijur Wildlife Sanctuary, and Chila Wildlife Sanctuary. So, in the year 1983, they were merged to form Rajaji National Park. This national park is named after C. Rajgopalachari, a famous freedom fighter, particularly popularly known as Rajaji. And in the year 2015, this Rajaji National Park, this was declared as Rajaji Tiger Reserve under the provisions of Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. And this one important fact here is that River Ganga, it passes through Rajaji Tiger Reserve and an important tributary, Song River. Song River is a tributary of Ganga River. It also passes through this Tiger Reserve. And in this map, we can see the location of Uttarakhand, and we can see this here. This is the location of this particular national park or Tiger Reserve. And this Tiger Reserve, it also has an elephant corridor to facilitate the movement of elephants between Rajaji National Park and Corbett National Park. So these are important facts regarding this news article. And now let's solve a question regarding this national park. And UPSC in the year 2019 had asked a question on India's desert national park. So the location, such locations can be important for your UPSC examination. Now let's see the statements. Statement 1 says that Rajaji National Park spreads over two districts. So this is incorrect statement, as this tiger reserve is spread over three districts in the state. Second statement says that river Ganges flow through the tiger reserve. This is a correct statement. Third statement says that it has an elephant corridor that facilitates the movement of elephants between Rajaji and Tiger and Corbett National Park. This is also a correct statement. So select the correct answer using the codes given below. The correct answer is option B, as only statement 2 and 3 are correct. So this brings an end to today's session. If you have any doubt, you can ask us in the comment section. Thank you.